as we initiate chaos. Theory guarantees that we'll play like lightning shots, sounding like thunder. For every time in the face that it hits us, we're faster. Well, they should know by now. They see the world keeps trying to shake us. It only waits us. The pendulum swings. The pendulum swings. It's in a beautiful darkness, only another. It's full steam ahead, full steam ahead. All above the Betty Express, misdirected from the start. It's a runaway train. I come a freight train. I come a freight train. In a beautiful darkness, the Betty Express. In a beautiful darkness.
Hey, you guys, welcome back. So I have looked a bit ahead, and Kim K is looking quite pale. So it does appear that we are going to stay with this particular witness for the rest of the day. So heads up that I believe that they are on Sophia right now, her medical report, and even Kim K is looking a little pale. So again, do be very mindful of your mental health. I do have the speed kicked up to 1.25. And we are coming back from lunch where we are right now. But did want to give you guys those warnings as I try to give you guys warnings, especially with this type of testimony. It does seem like things with Sophia are going to be really rough. So again, I will be breaking today what we did in today in the trial, doing a breakdown, a short 10-minute video at the end of this stream. If you guys have to step out.
Thank you, Judge Chris Becker for the state.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Monica Masco on behalf of Mr. Caneiro is present.
Okay, and good afternoon, Mr. Caneiro. All right, we're ready to continue with the direct examination. Prosecutor, when you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. Now, where we left off, I think we were beginning to discuss the fourth wound that you noted in S380, which is your report. You still have that up?
Yes, indeed.
Now, the fourth wound that's noted on page 4 of your report, can you tell us what you documented in that regard?
There's a gunshot wound on the right lateral back of the head, the entrance wound.
Okay.
And the exit wound is on the left side, frontal and the temple area.
Okay. Can I just have the back table, please? I'm going to go to...
Oh, and y'all, yet again, is, of course, Mr. Mo can't pick the kids up on Wednesday because of school. But again, even with the paper thing that, clearly explains which children I am here to pick up in the same car that has the Sailor Moon bumper sticker, if you're, trying to figure out if I'm the same person. The woman was like, "Can you roll down your window? Who are you?" And I was like, "Ma'am, we have met before. I promise you." I kind of wanted to tell her, like, "Ma'am, I put on a giant hoodie. I may or may not be pleading the fifth as to wearing a bra right now, and I really don't want to talk to people because I have to deal with sucktastic testimony when I get back home." But I didn't. I was just like, "No, no problem. I totally get it. I'm glad that you're taking care of the safety, of my kiddos." But still, I did want to just tell her, like, "Ma'am, we have been through this before. In this wig, in fact."
S1H again. And can I have slide 14, please? Now, gunshot wound 4 that you describe in your report, can you tell us where that is?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now we look at the body lying on the autopsy table. You notice there is one entrance wound just about right side ear.
Now, I will tell you guys, if you didn't watch This Morning with me, I don't know, again, if this is your jam, if you like seeing all of the photos, then this trial, if you want to watch the unredacted or unmo-redacted stream, they have been very liberal with showing pictures in this trial. I do keep the volume on, but I don't want my channel nuked, and this is more CSI than Saw. Uh, so that's kind of, if you just see my face and hear the court, most of the time I have not had a blonde moment. I simply am not showing you what's on the screen. So if you see me just pop up on your screen, the pictures are being
Consider number 4 gunshot wound entrance site.
Can we preserve that, please?
14.1.
Then can we go to slide 16, please? And do you see anything on 16 with respect to the exit of that injury?
Yes,
Okay, where is that?
it's on the left. I just mentioned the frontal and the temple area. Above the left side here, there is a exit wound.
Can we preserve that 16.1?
Then you can. Can I slide 15? Is that a closer up shot of that wound?
Yes, it's a close shot for entrance wound of gunshot wound 4.
Now, with respect to, I think.
Again, this might be a different sort of standard in New Jersey. I have just, in my almost 4 years of watching trials, I have never seen these kind of photos be put on screen and shown. They're not terribly graphic. The wounds have been cleaned up. This is still about Keith. Uh, so I will say that in a clinical sense, they are easier to look at. But if you would like to see those, they are being played on Court TV. I just know y'all don't, so.
When you described in your report on 4, you mentioned that there was a partial exit wound. Is that accurate?
In this wound, yes, it's a partial exit wound. Yes,
Okay.
there's a.
What does that mean?
Basically, we mentioned perforating gunshot wound is through and through the entrance wound, exit wound. This wound, they created exit wound, maybe a partially bullet, exit from exit wound, but majority, and still, I don't know majority, still 3 fragments of the bullet, including 1 jacket, 2 core of the bullet, identified inside of skull and the head area.
Now, Doc, is it fair to say that projectile perforated the scalp initially upon entry?
There's the pieces exit from exit wound.
Okay. Now, talking about the entry, does a projectile perforate the scalp, fracture the right inferior parietal bone?
Correct.
Okay, and then does it go through the right?
And then parietal, if you remember from this morning, it isn't more here. It's more kind of your lateral median side of your, so kind of this quadrant. It's not your crown, but right there.
Parietal lobe?
Yes, indeed.
To the left parietal
To
lobe?
the left, yes.
And during the course of that, did it fracture the junction of the left parietal bone with the left frontal bone area?
Correct.
And then we have that partial exit, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and ultimately, as a result of that partial exit of the projectile or the portions thereof, did you recover portions of that bullet?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember I recovered 3 pieces.
Okay, can I have slide 17, please? You recognize that?
Yes, you can see on the top is the yellow color, is a jacket or bullet. There's a metal color or lead color is the core of the bullet. Certainly you can see the fragment of the bullet severely deformed.
Okay, now, Doctor, ultimately, as a result of the recovery of those 3 portions of the bullet from the brain of Mr. Canerio, was that provided to one of the detectives who was there from the prosecutor's office to assist with documentation of the autopsy?
Yes, indeed.
Now,
Can we preserve that 17.1?
Now, just going to, you can go back. I'm going to ask you about the 5th gunshot wound. Could you just undo that, Doctor? I'm sorry. Can you click the undo button? Thank you, sir. Now, the 5th gunshot wound, was that also documented in your report?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, and could you just indicate
Daggone it, I hadn't
how you
even-
describe that 5th?
Sir, I hadn't even gotten the 14 in for the next yes, indeed. If you notice, I do things to distract myself. Like I said, you guys, looking at how pale Kim K Okay, let's try this quadrillionth time. Audio is on the okie dokie. All right.
You just remember the fourth entrance wound on the right lateral the head, and there's another entrance wound is above the previous mentioned number 4 entrance wound. There's a number 5 entrance wound on the right top of the head.
Can I have slide 14, please? Do you recognize the 5th entrance gunshot wound in that photograph?
Yes, indeed. We identify one entrance wound on the top of the head, slightly in front of number 4 entrance wound.
Okay. Can we preserve that?
14.2.
Now, can you talk about where, Doctor, can you talk about where that, once that bullet enters where you just circled, where's the bullet go?
The bullet fractured, perforated the scalp, fractured the parietal, right side parietal bone through the top of the brain, the exit from the left side parietal bone. Fractured left parietal bone, then exit from left top of the head.
Doctor, I'm sorry.
Again, this, like, remember the face, number 2, number 3, number 4, and the number 5. They go through the same pathway, from the right to left, from the back to front, and also with a slightly upward version.
Doctor, that wound that we just talked about, number 5, the entrance wound, you talked about the path. You described the exit wound as being, in your report, as being a large, elongated exit wound. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Can I just have slide 16, please? You recognize that large, elongated exit wound in slide 16?
Yes. You can see there's a large defect on the left top of the head,
Okay.
which is the front of left ear, on the left anterior lateral of the head.
Can we preserve that, please?
16.2.
Doctor, you described somewhat before lunch and now 5 gunshot injuries sustained by Keith Caneiro, correct?
Correct.
Now, the first one we talked about was in the lower back area. That's where it
Yes.
entered, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then it exited through the abdomen, went through his hand, and exited again, correct?
Yes.
Now, with respect to gunshot wounds 2, 3, 4, and 5, were any of those gunshot wounds below the shoulder area?
None of them.
They were all above the shoulder area?
You are right.
Now, I think at times, specifically gunshot wound 5, you noted bilateral, subdural, and subarachnoid hemorrhage in the brain?
Actually, number 4 I also noticed. The both.
Okay, so here, bilateral, just to demystify some of this, just means so 2 or both. Usually bilateral is used when you have a pair of something. Rarely do humans have 3 of things, so bilateral simply means that both hemispheres of the brain were affected, or both of these parts were affected.
Lead to the subdural subarachnoid hemorrhage, brain lacerations, brain contusion. One push the brain, the bullet down the other part.
And basically what he's saying is that the bullet penetrated the scalp, went to through the cranium, into the subcranium, there's a derma, a hard kind of, not hard, but a very tough tissue cover, went through the brain and then did the same thing going out.
Brain tissues against the skull that created contusions. And also, I didn't describe after you can see through the X-ray, the top of the head become pieces. Just all the skull kind of when the bullet hit the skull, lost energy.
Well, because I think since the bullets interacted with the skull, which is a very hard bone, there was a lot of different trajectories that were exhibited. And especially, I wouldn't have imagined that the wound from the small of his back would have traveled all the way through his body and exited through his hand. I would not have assumed that any of that would have happened. So I think it is because he had to talk about so many different wound paths, uh, and try to explain why this isn't basically he can show and he can see what an exit wound and an entrance wound is, but to kind of give the jurors who are not used to seeing these things and probably don't honestly want to go to the jury room to look closely at these, they're trying to break it down and show like this is kind of on a person and explain that all of this is going to seem different because everything is documented on the paperwork in anatomical position. So I I had a thought that maybe the state would close their case, but I I want to hear from Corey. I want the state to call Corey and basically yes and no because I feel like Corey has suffered a lot. So I don't want him to have to testify. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of also what they're having to show, the path and different things and how that went. So I'm guessing that's why there has been so much talk about where things went and how they entered and exited, because if the jury wanted to go back, uh, they would basically have pictures that show a bunch of holes, but they might not be able to differentiate what, this goes with, what this goes with. So I do like this particular medical examiner seems to be very professional and able to explain things in an easy way. Yes, there is a bit of language barrier, but I just think it's extraordinary. I can't imagine. I'm always impressed with Baker because I know he has to think things in Danish and then think about them in English and then figure out the word. So this man, being able to have this kind of, position and be able to explain things. Yes, it's a little bit more difficult to understand some of his words, but I'm always just impressed with people that can think in multiple languages.
You see the bullet break up, created temporary cavities, kind of small plastic injuries. So the head, top of the head, actually you can see all become pieces.
Can I have slide 4? Is that the X-ray that you're referring to, Doctor?
Yes, you see the black gap is air. I mean, you can see the head is deformed on top of the head. And you see all the gap, it means each individual fracture bones down there.
Okay, you think. Now, as a result of your autopsy process, both external and internal, and that which you testified to already, did you determine whether or not, at the time of his death, Keith Caneiro was suffering from any natural diseases?
No.
Did you note something regarding coronary artery disease?
I identify the case has some heart conditions. We call coronary artery. They supply the blood and the nutrition to the heart.
Did that cause his death, Doctor?
No, in this case.
Okay. Now, I just want to ask you also, with respect to this autopsy, did you at some point take a DNA or a blood sample from Keith Caneiro during the autopsy?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, and was that provided to that same detective who took the projectiles?
Correct.
Okay, now with respect to toxicology panels, did you order those as well?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, and did you ultimately receive back toxicology results regarding Keith Caneiro?
Yes, indeed.
And ultimately, were those negative?
Let me double check.
Sure.
Yes, you are right.
Okay. Now, based upon your autopsy, and in light of your training and experience that you described previously, were you able to determine or opine as to a cause of death for Keith Caneiro?
Yes, indeed.
And what was that?
The cause of death is multiple gunshot wounds.
And with respect to the manner of death, were you able to make any conclusions there from your autopsy?
Homicide.
Okay. And what does homicide actually mean?
That's one person killed another person.
Okay. Now, that cause and manner, those cause and manner opinions that you just talked about, are those based upon the performance of the autopsy, the things you saw in conjunction with your education, your training, and your experience?
And also including investigation.
Including investigation, because that's part of the process, correct?
Correct.
And that's why it was important for you to talk about what you saw photographically at the scene at 15 Willowbrook.
Correct.
Now, doctor, I want to ask you about the second autopsy that you performed.
Okay, you guys, again, this is going to be the start of Sophia. I will be not showing any, I don't care if they're very cleaned up pictures. I'm not going to be showing them. And we will take breaks as needed. But remember, you guys, you can pause, you can step away, and I will break down what I learn at the end of this stream. I also have my hillbilly Kleenex ready because, and the very rare occasions, now this is not full of adult beverage. This has been cut with massive amounts of Diet Sprite, but I have taken the rare step to have an emotional support beverage. So let's get through this together, and screw you, Paul. Just screw you.
On that same date, which was November 21st, 2018, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that was with respect to Sophia Caneiro, correct?
Yes.
And did you, as part of the culmination of that autopsy, did you draft a report?
Correct.
Okay, and did that report ultimately include toxicology, the actual report, as well as your body diagram and some other notes from the investigators?
Yes, indeed.
I'm just going to show you what's been marked as S382 identification. I'll ask you if you recognize that, doctor.
Yes. This including my autopsy report, which have the name Sophia Caneiro, and the case number is 13-18-1301. The case 13 is the county of Thomas County. The 18 is the year of 2018. Case number 1301 is specific related to this case. So in all the following photos, they all have this label associated with this case.
Now, doctor, with respect to the autopsy that you conducted or performed upon Sophia Caneiro, did you do it in a similar manner to which you had done for her father, Keith Caneiro?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Did that include x-rays that were taken prior to any real internal or external examination?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have slide 20, please? Doctor, do you recognize slide 20?
Yes, indeed.
What do we see there?
We show the body was lying on the table. We take the photo of the bodies. On those, there was show the EKG leads on the shoulder area. Also, is also a little bit high density. The pieces, actually, they are not bullet. They are just gravel stones. Since the initially body was found the first landing between the first floor and the second floor, they moved the body from the fire side to the gravel surface. So those stones is contamination basically on the ground, and show the injuries on the you can see on the right side chest. If you compare the left side the chest, it's all quite black. That means the person also have we call the pneumothorax, the air.
He punctured her lungs.
Into the right chest. So the compress the right lung. Normally the chest cavity is negative pressure, so you can expand the lung. So and also the lung is collapsed and kind of push the heart towards to the left side the bodies. And yes.
Okay. Can we preserve that, please?
20.1.
Doc, you can undo that if you don't mind. Doctor, as part of any autopsy, and specifically this one, did you take note of any clothing that Sophia Caneiro was wearing at the time?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, and there was 2 items, correct?
Yes.
What were they?
They were, one is a shirt, one is underwear.
Okay, and
The
did you,
shirt is which is covered with blood.
Okay. Now, can I just have slide 21?
Paul, I hope you rot every day and get leprosy, starting with your schmeckle.
You recognize that, Doc?
Yes.
What is that?
It's basically, in this case, later on, I will introduce other evidence. So they are in the fire scenes. So you can see the clothing already partially burned. So I have cut on the surface, lateral surface, in order to preserve the evidence. So basically, this shirt on the purple one is on the back. The body is protected, clothing be burned, were burned. So on the top is a front shirt. In the front shirt and also on the back, you see a lot of empty space that later on correlated with the stab wound. When you perforate the body, create a defect on the clothing.
Now, Doc, during the course of the beginning of your report, specifically page 2 of that document, you go on to describe your initial impressions of Sophia Caneiro, correct?
Yes,
And that included the fact that she was 48 inches, right?
yes,
45 pounds,
correct.
and she was how old?
8 years old.
Okay. Did you describe
This little girl was 45 pounds, Paul. I hope you felt like an absolute disgrace. Ugh.
her hair color?
Yes, it's she has a light brown hair, but the hair, top of the hair is I described in my report, it's a singe. That means get the thermal burns. Not totally burned yet. You start after burn, you start shrinking. A singe.
Doctor, were you able to evaluate or determine her eye color?
Since with the thermal burns, you cannot see real color since our thermal burn effect.
Did you document that there were large stab wounds on the left side of her nose?
Yes, indeed. There's a multiple large stab wound on the left hand.
Okay. And did you note something regarding the upper frenulum?
Yeah, the upper frenulum is a small ligament between.
So that's this thing right here. The little bit of like weird flappy bit that keeps your upper lip closely attached to your skull.
In the front line, in the upper lip area, so that small ligament is tear.
Did you make any observations of whether or not there was any blood in her mouth?
Also, there's a large amount of blood in the mouth.
Did she have multiple cuts and stab wounds to the chest?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And was her face covered with blood and soot?
Yes, indeed. The whole body are covered by soot. So make me, in this case, very difficult doing the autopsy since the soot and the dry blood cover the wound. So we have to really carefully clean the wound in order to identify the nature of injuries.
Did you note at times in different places radiant heat burns?
Yes, the whole body, especially in the front, show the radiant thermal burns. On the back, again, partially burns, but certain area is still preserved.
Tammy, welcome back. Just a fair warning, we are on to Sophia, and I've kind of looked ahead. Kim K is looking very pale, so I have a feeling this is going to be quite bad. I believe there were, I want to say, 20 to 30 wounds on this little girl. So do be mindful. I have it on the ticker on the bottom that I will be doing a breakdown at the end of this stream. If you need to step away, I completely understand. But do be mindful of your mental health.
Especially on the body, against like buttock area, against the floor, they are kind of protected by body positions. In those areas will be less burn
Now, Doctor,
or unburn.
Doctor, during the course of the report, you document evidence of injury. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. And you described in the beginning, part 1, you described evidence of sharp force injuries. Is that right?
Yes.
What did you mean when you said sharp force injuries?
Generally speaking, we talk about sharp injuries is by sharp instrument, either with a pointed or sharp edge. So those injuries is indeed is due to cut, not by force. The blunt force injury is by force, the break the tissue, tear tissues. The sharp force injury is cut motion into the body.
Okay. Now, doctor, if you recall, is it accurate that you documented under sharp force injuries 17 injuries or groups of injuries?
It's artificially divided like 17 groups based on locations, but not means 17 injuries. It's 17 group injuries.
Now, I know that you document a lot. We just said it was 17, but I'm going to refer you to that report that's in front of you, if I can.
Yes.
And specifically, I just wanted to just note the number. The record we're looking at S382, correct?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to start with number one and ask you that first injury that you noted.
The first injury is like a deep cut on the right top of the head, which the cut length is 1.5 inches.
Okay. And the second injury, or group of injury that you noted was what?
Is injury, the stab wound on the back left armpit area, which 7.8 inch in length and 0.5 inch in width. Normally, we mention the stab wound. If I mention the length of the wound, tend to correlate the width of the blade. And the depth wound tend to associate the length of the blade, but certainly not the injury will be fully penetrated. But they're correlated to a certain degree down there. So this, and again, I mentioned to you, majority thermal burns in the anterior surface. On the back area, some area is less burn or unburned. In that injuries, I try to identify the length of the wound. In the thermal area, I just mentioned whatever the size. Doesn't mean is the shape of the wound.
So what he's trying to explain, and it is a little difficult, if you remember back to when we were talking about Jennifer, how the body kind of curls up in thermal injuries post-death, because of that kind of contorting and contraction of the muscles, where there were injuries, where on the burned areas, he didn't measure those so much for accuracy or to get kind of a feel for how big the weapon was. He was noting them, but basically he's saying that those measurements aren't going to be good for kind of identifying if this knife could be included or not included. But there are other wounds that he did that to because they were on more undamaged parts of her body, which the fact that there were so many wounds, that there were... Paul, you're going to need Jesus because everyone else thinks you're a goddamn asshole. So you better hope Jesus loves you because he'll be the only one.
Let me go back to, I'm sorry.
No idea what just happened here. Did it go back to the mother flippin' begin? Are you... What the name of Hades? Flippin' flapjacks. Lunch break. We got through that.
Push the brain, the body down there. The other part of...
Do you recognize that, Doc?
yes.
What is that?
It's basically,
Okay.
in this case,
So-
later on,
I think we were right about here. I love that my Tizamy brain recognizes every time he uses his middle finger to point at something, so I note it because I want to know anything other than what he's talking about.
is indeed is due to cut, not by force. The blunt force injury is 1.5 inches.
Okay. And the second injury, or group of injury that you noted was what?
Is injury, the stab wound on the back left armpit area, which 7 1/8 inch in length and 1/2 inch in width. Normally, we mention the stab wound. If I mention the length of the wound, tend to correlate the width of the blade. And the depth wound tend to associate the length of the blade, but certainly not the injury will be fully penetrating. But they're correlated a certain degree down there. So this, and again, I mentioned to you, majority thermal burns in the anterior surface. On the back area, some area is less burn or unburned. In that injuries, I try to identify the length of the wound. In the thermal area, I just mentioned whatever the size. Doesn't mean is the shape of the wound. So let me go back to, I'm sorry, I have to tell the jury whatever the preconditions. So this wound is a 7/8 inch, a little bit less than 1 inch, and the 1/2 inch in width. And the depth wound is 1 inch. This wound is from the back to front and downward. Just remember, from back to front, downward.
Doctor, with respect to those measurements, I think you said it, but just to be clear, were you confident with respect to the measurements when you talk about 7/8 of an inch in length, 1/2 an inch in width?
So I put the notes, I'm sorry. In my report, I said notes, due to thermal injury, the measurement, the length and width of this wound are not accurate.
And it's not accurate because of the smoke and fire conditions?
Just thermal injury. When the thermal injury, you teach you the fix. They can maybe artificial in
Sebastian, I don't know, because before this testimony, their defense was only mildly irritating. After this testimony, their defense becomes offensive, becomes remarkably irritating. And if they don't call Corey, I swear to God, I hope the jury double guilties him. Spent this entire almost 3 weeks, dragging his brother's name through the mud, knowing this was going to be coming out. Kim K and Tristan Ponytail Esquire III, you have had your time to be massive morons. I swear to God, I will have no mercy. I will verbally eviscerate you regularly if you attempt any of your condescending bullshit after this. Because it was only mildly irritating before this testimony. Now it is downright defensive if you two morons can't gather together enough goddamn brain cells to power an LED light and just sit the hell down and say you rest your case.
large size, or maybe the smaller than real size.
Now, you note the third injury, is that accurate?
Yes.
What's the third injury that you note?
I noticed on the back, the middle of the back, the baby, there have 2.5 inches length cut. And this cut is certainly all the cut on the back is from back to front. Also had downward. The cut is downward to the body.
And then the fourth. Yeah, I note that you indicate there's 2 stab wounds, correct?
Yes, there's a 2 stab wound on the right lateral buttock. The top stab wound measure 3/4 by 1/2 inches. The lower stab wound.
His defense attorney, I've been calling her Kim Kardashian. So, like I said, I will not be holding back if they continue their what have up to now been just insulting and insufferable antics and mediocrity. But after this testimony, it becomes an actual indictment on the disrespect that you show these victims and the damn jury and the rest of the world, that you think that we're so stupid we're going to buy your bullshit. After hearing what this man did to these people, every single one of them, not just the children, his own brother, the mother of his niece and nephew. And then those two precious babies. You should have taken a plea deal, Paul.
Is located at a little bit non-thermal injury area. So this measurement is more accurate, like real injury patterns. I mentioned the length of that wound is 1/8 inch in length, 3/16 inch in width. And when you look at that shape of the wound, there's one sharp edge, one blunt edge. So indicate the weapons, whatever stab to the buttock area, most likely is a single edge blade.
Again, is that what you just,
Hey, Post-Punk Mama, we are going through autopsy testimony of Sophia. We've gone through testimony of everyone else, so this is the tail end. I've kind of been watching. Here, if you want some, you can have this one. All right. Hey, sweetie, I'm not with this testimony, okay? Thank you. So just to let you know, even the defense is looking peaked with it. So I will be doing a breakdown at the end of this, but I did want to let you know what you're coming into.
describes at the front?
Yes, this wound is the from the back to front and top to bottom,
So downward.
downward.
Now, number 5, you talk about a superficial vertical cut.
Hey guys, if you're just coming in, we are on autopsy testimony, and this is the youngest victim, the 8-year-old little girl. So just warning you guys, for some reason, this trial has been putting up photos. So I will be just, if you see me on the screen but hear the court, there's photos up.
The right posterior lateral thigh measuring 3 inches in length, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And when you talk about right posterior lateral thigh, can you tell us where that is?
It's basically, I said, all the basic standard position is on the lateral side of the right thigh, on the back lateral side.
Now, that 6th wound, again, I think it's 2 wounds at least, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us about the 6th wound?
These 2 stab wound on the left side of the nose, measuring up to 1 inch in length. The wound direction is front to back, slightly. Baby on the left side. It's slightly right when I'm talking to the baby, the child, from the right.
And even this doctor, so I'm guessing he's of a culture where unless you're 18, you're a baby. So even this doctor is not unaffected. It's the fact that there were 16 groupings, not 16 wounds, 16 groupings. You guys, I don't know how a human being does that.
Left, and slightly, that is on the face, slightly from the bottom to top, slightly upward. And these 2 wounds cut through the nose, cut through the nose, and through the sinus. And since I just remember on the left side nose, this wound from front stepped on the back, a little bit upward. So when the wound into the left side of the face through the sinus, they hit the bottom of the skull, the brain inside the skull. The bottom of the skull we call left frontal fossa. On the base of the skull, there are frontal fossa, middle fossa, and posterior fossa. So the knife penetrating front to back from.
Jesus Christ, Paul. Jesus Christ. You put a knife through that girl's skull.
Slightly from the right to left and slightly upward hit the bottom of the skull and fracture the base of the skull.
Can I just very briefly have slide 22? You recognize that, Doc?
Yes, indeed.
Is that consistent with the injury you just described?
Yes.
moving on to number 7, you document 6 cuts or stab wounds. Can you explain that?
There are 6 cut and stab wound on the middle anterior portion of the chest, in around the nipple level up and the lower area. There are total 16 totally 16 cuts and the stab wounds. Again, if grouping them together, they are going. The knife is going to front to back. One of the wound cuts through the right upper chest, which penetrated through the right and number 5, number 6 lateral ribs, create a cut, 1 inch cut in the middle of a right lung, and superficially cut all the way deep, cut into the back of the chest cavities. So this wound measure the depth of the wound around 3 inches.
Sorry, I was trying to explain this for you. So, if this is the chest wall, these are the ribs. You have skin, you have muscle, and then you have the kind of internal fat layer, then the chest cavity, which is under pressure. Basically, this wound went all the way from the front to superficially pierce back here, back beyond the back part of her rib cage.
Now, that group of injuries there, Doc, under number 7 that you just discussed.
I'm sorry, I didn't finish.
Chucky Chihuahua, I was actually Daenerys for a little bit today, but I had to go pick up my kiddos, and they're a really, really Christian school, so did not want to get stoned.
Yeah, let me finish the one. So you remember the X-ray? There is there is a dark area on the right side lung. We mentioned the pneumothorax, since they cut through the lung, and also the wound, deep wound into the chest cavity, introduce air into the chest cavities. So this wound lead to the blood on the chest. We call it the blood.
Actually, it would be really fun to do a Runkle stream dressed up as Runkle, or as close to. I don't know if he would find that amusing or not, though. And he's a nice guy, so I don't want to be a butt.
The chest, and also have the pneumothorax means air in the chest. So the right side lung, therefore, called lung collapse. I use the term atelectasis, basically collapsed lung, and push the organs, the heart, towards the left. Since when you lost one side, you cannot breathe. When the lung collapses, you cannot change air. When push the heart towards the left side lung, also partially compressed left lung, make the person difficult to breathe.
So what I was going to say is that's consistent with what you described earlier from the X-ray, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now moving on to the 8th grouping of injuries. Can you describe that?
There's a stab wound on the right lateral chest. So this wound measures 7/8 by 1 inch. Again in the thermal area. Stab wound. This stab wound from right to left, slightly top to bottom. The stab wound through the skin, right lateral chest wall, through the ribs. They cut the fracture number 9. This through number 8 to number 10 ribs space. They into there on the way there cut through the fracture or cut the right number 9 rib, and then when they go to the lower chest cavities. Then after they go to chest cavity, they into the right side of the diaphragm, right side diaphragm separates the chest organ and abdomen. Through the right diaphragm, then further into the liver, the right lobe of the liver. Certainly, when you damage the liver, you have hemorrhage in the abdominal cavity. We call the hemoperitoneum. There is a small amount of injuries in the blood.
Yeah, she basically bled out internally, gasping for air because her lungs couldn't fully inflate. Paul, I can't say what I would wish to happen to you right now.
There, so this wound depth is around 3¼ inch in depth from the cut through the. We talk about baby, so through almost through the right to the midline area. 3¼ inch in depth. Thank you.
Now, and the ninth group of injuries, you talk about one stab wound to the anterior right thigh, correct?
Correct.
And also one stab wound on the left thigh, correct?
Correct.
Right. And the direction of those wounds was what?
From the front to back.
And did you also measure those?
Yeah, this is again the front leg was burned. So I measure 3¼ by 3/4. Another wound I measure 3/4 by 1/4.
And number 10 is 2 vertical cuts on the medial surface of the right lower leg and 1 vertical cut on the medial surface of the right ankle. Is that
Correct.
Okay. And they measure 2 to 3 inches in length?
Correct.
And number 11, you talk about a stab wound on the left anterior upper arm, correct?
Correct.
What's the direction there?
The direction wound is front to back.
Now just,
At this point, I think even with her limited amount of, well, perceptive skills, that's a bad look. Now, I'm surprised Tristan Ponytail Esquire III hasn't said anything because he's an indefensible moron. But maybe even his limited, scope of emotional, well, intelligence is telling him that that would be a really damn bad idea.
number 12 is a perforating stab wound of the right forearm.
Correct.
What does perforating mean? If you
Perforating, again, the same concept, use bullet or knife. That means the knife enters the body, then exit from the body.
And that perforating stab wound of the right forearm, what else did you note in that regard?
Wait, doctor, I saw that. We are going to go back here. You see him for a split second cut his eyes to Paul and give, because he doesn't really make eye contact, but it is the swiftest, dirty look. We are going to slow it down because, sir, you deserve it. But it's
Exit from body.
so it's right there. He does look at him just a bit, and he's like, "Not even worth it. You are dirt beneath my shoes."
And that perforating stab wound of the right,
Because his culture is all about honor. Paul has no honor. Asian culture is all about filial duties, respect, and honor. Honoring your elders, honoring your family. And this man has no honor. Paul is, again, no honor.
right forearm. What else did you note in that regard?
So this, just remember, this entrance wound is located on the posterior lateral of right forearm, on the back lateral of the forearm, close to the elbow,
Okay.
and measures 1 inch by ½ inch. So this wound direction is a back to front, and top to bottom. I mean, from shoulder is top, the hands the bottom. It's, remember, back to front. It's a little bit downward.
And just to that area, very briefly, Doc, can I have slide 25? Now, you talk about injury to the right forearm. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And you also
Yeah,
talk-
I'm going to label.
Okay.
So the elbow is here. So the close elbow on the back of the on the lateral of right forearm.
And Doc, just very quickly, do you see some of the chest injuries that you described earlier?
Yes, you see multiple gapping stab wound and or cut.
Good, preserve that and take it down.
25.1.
Doc, you talk about, you can undo that, Doc. Talk about number 13 being a faint cut on the right forearm. Is that essentially in that same area just described?
Yes,
Like between the perforated stab wounds you just described?
and also there's a stab wound and the superficial cut on the right elbow.
Okay.
It was just seeing the picture. I forgot that they flashed one up. It's just such a waste of a beautiful family for money. I just don't get it.
And is there also under number 14, is there a deep cut on the posterior right wrist?
Correct. But the measuring 1 3/4 inches in length.
Okay. And then number 15 says vertical skin split from the back of the right hand.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, and that's toward the distal forearm.
Correct.
Then you also note a horizontal skin split somewhere else.
Yeah, at the right metal phalangeal joints, basically it's the knuckle area. There's a addition which consists in superficial cuts. Since when you cut down there on your wound, when there are the thermal injuries, they start to split. And since the reason I consider is now the burn artifact is real injuries, since in the dermal area, I still can see the linear cut down there. So I reach conclusion. Those skin split is now due to the thermal artifact. It's due to, since the reason how split, since that area or the fat tissue are exposed to the air. So the fire will be more started in the fat area. So the little skin split, but underneath indicate the reason how skin split on the right wrist area is due to the injury.
And you note number 16, 3 superficial cuts on the medial surface of the left forearm?
Correct.
Okay. And then 17 is a cut on the right lateral lower face.
Correct.
And then you
So the cut is measured is 1.5 inch in length.
did you then go on to note any blunt force injuries?
Yes, indeed.
What's a blunt force injury?
But blunt force injuries is inflicted by any object. They don't have sharp cutting edge, but they can, with the force, you can create a contusion, means in the underneath skin hemorrhage, abrasions.
I have only one thing to say, and I've never said it before in my entire life, but where the fuck is Will Smith? We need him to bitch slap the hell out of someone. Pretend he said something bad about Jada. I don't care. But Will Smith, I am willing to allow you to do humanity a favor. Allegedly in Minecraft.
The skin surface damage, we call it abrasion.
And you noted those abrasions on the right upper eyelid, right?
Yes, so abrasion on the right upper eyelid and abrasions on the temple area, just below the right eye, and small contusions on the anterior chin, and small abrasions on the right lower lip, on the right lower lip. There are abrasions and contusions on the left lower chest, and the purple contusion on both anterior knee.
Doctor, was there a point in time when you documented that you were asked to document whether some of these injuries could be consistent with defensive wounds?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to ask you to get specific at each wound, but based upon what I'm showing you, S383, would you indicate that certain wounds were consistent based upon your training and experience and this autopsy itself with defensive wounds?
Do you remember I grouping all the sharp injuries 1 to 17? So number 9, number 10, number 12, number 13, number 14, number 15, number 16. Those group injuries, my opinion, they are consistent with the defense wounds.
And just very briefly, when we look at slide 23, what We're looking at the right leg of Sophia Caneiro, correct?
Correct.
Is there evidence, based upon your examination, of wounds that you believe to be consistent with defensive wounds?
Yes.
Okay.
You see the vertical cuts on the anterior chin area. You see the stab wound on the right side. You see the stab wound on the left side. Those wounds for me is indicate Sophia was lying on the ground. Somebody tried to stab them. They use the leg, try to dodge the knife.
Okay. Can we preserve that?
23.1.
Paul, I hope you never know any happiness, and I hope, God, I hope, that as soon as those babies entered heaven, because I believe in heaven, or wherever you believe, I hope that they never had another thought of pain or terror or anything. And they're looking down and seeing the imperfect justice that you're getting now. And they'll be looking down on you when you get to that eternal pit of fire. I have no doubt.
Can I just briefly have slide 24, please? Got to undo that. Thanks, Doc. And then last slide 24, please. Is that also consistent with what you believe to be consistent with defensive wounds upon Sophia Caneiro?
Yes. Now we're looking for from upper version. Look at the right foot. You can see on the right ankle area have a cut. Maybe have another cut on down here. I'm not 100% sure.
Can we preserve?
24.1.
Now, as to all the injuries that you have discussed this afternoon, did you document them on a body diagram of Sophia Caneiro?
Yes, indeed.
Where's slide 26? Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Is that all you're writing?
Yes. So there's clearly show the label 13-18-1301 with you see the name and all the injuries.
Jesus Christ, Paul.
And the purpose of that is to show where all of those injuries are, and there's also certain measurements on that diagram, correct?
Correct.
And does that accurately depict, your sketch of, during the course of the autopsy, of the injuries that Sophia sustained?
Yes, indeed. You notice almost the entire body was our injuries.
Now, you talked about thermal injuries already, correct?
Yes.
And was there any evidence internally of smoke inhalation?
Yes, indeed. There is a soot in the tongue and upper airway.
Now, in order to, as a result of those observations, do you immediately conclude anything, or do you look to get further testing?
Since when you inhale smoke, majority component of smoke is carbon monoxide. So that when you inhale the smoke, including carbon monoxide, so when the body inhaled carbon monoxide, normally in the blood, in the red cells, they have hemoglobin. Normally they combine with oxygen together, then deliver oxygen from your lung side into the tissues. In the cellular level, they can exchange air, so the tissue have oxygen to supply energy for the tissues. However, when CO into the bodies, they will start to bonding with hemoglobin called carboxyhemoglobin. So there will be.
The only small mercy is that when your brain does go hypoxic, like both of the children did show evidence and signs of carbon monoxide infiltration, your brain tends to go into sort of a happy or confused state, and you are not at all, you're not totally conscious. It's a small mercy, but
show certain kind of concentration carboxyhemoglobin. In this case, I believe it's 49%. I'll double check.
now, to kind of compare that, Jesse didn't seem to have survived as long because his his carbon monoxide count was only 8. Now, Sophia was a much smaller person, tinier, so to get her to a higher level wouldn't have taken all that much carbon monoxide. Which might be why there is such a discrepancy between Jesse and Sophia, but also she might have survived a bit longer as well. I'm not a doctorologist, so I'm sure he'll explain that.
Yes, 49% carboxyhemoglobin in the system. Put this way, for 10%, normally people feel nausea, vomiting. If about 40%, that means you can die just by smoke inhalation. She had 49%. Plus, I saw the salt in the airway, indicate that person was stabbed by zillion times, then leave the body alive.
Now, doctor, as a result of your autopsy, I would.
You know, we're going to play that again because I think that's just as powerful. This man has kept it together and been so professional, and that little bang on the table is just what we need.
Alive.
Now, doctor, as a result of your autopsy, I would imagine that you concluded that Sophia Caneiro at age 8 wasn't suffering from any natural diseases that would have contributed to her death, correct?
Correct.
And with respect to your examination
And honestly, sir, I said this to the other medical examiner, but thank you for doing the job you do. I can't imagine it's easy. And I hope he has something that he can go home and recharge, or someone that he can vent to, because I couldn't do it, and I can imagine having to do that.
based upon your training and experience, were you able to come up with a determination as the cause of death of Sophia Caneiro?
Yes, indeed.
And what was the cause of death that you concluded?
Sharp force injuries and smoke inhalation.
Oh, dude, no, sir, don't do it.
Again, as a result of your training experience.
Don't you do it. No, I have been relatively good, sir. If you go, I'm a go. So I'm gonna need you to just hold on, because God dang it, every time a stoic person cries or nearly cries, it gets me. Daggone it, I was so close.
In your autopsy of Sophia Caneiro, were you able to come up with a determination as to the
Fuck you, Paul. Fuck you, Paul.
manner of death?
Homicide.
Judge, I have no further questions.
Ross?
You don't have any questions, do you?
Okay, doctor, you can step down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God dang it. And I get it. I get it. This man has held it together. This man has been strong. Okay, y'all are pissing me the fuck off back here. Look, I'm sorry. Look, I have very little left in the way of compassion for this family right now. I'm trying not to say things that I want to say based on the fact that I am just seeing a moment. Maybe they are composerating themselves. Y'all are lucky that I'm pulling out the last modicum of Jesus I have for y'all. This is Paul's, so I believe this is his wife. I believe there is possibly an older relative behind the bailiff. And then I believe this is one of the older adult daughters and her husband. So yeah. Howdy, howdy. And even though I don't really like the family, I have very little kind that I can say. I still don't like court TV showing them. Grief is such a private and difficult thing to try to navigate that even them, I want them to have their privacy to grieve the way they need to. And I don't know that they knew this information. And it's a different thing to know it and then to see pictures, to see the autopsy photos. I'm the princess. They have been making faces and kikiing when Kim K and Tristan Ponytail the Third get up. But again, they are humans, and I wish that court TV wouldn't show their grief. I don't want to see Paul's stupid face either. And yeah, that would be such a terrible thing to realize that your father did this, to come to grips with that. I don't know how you do that. Kim K, your LinkedIn profile can wait. Probably like, this was terrible. Oh my God, maybe we should go home. I don't know if we're going to get the state resting or what is going on, because everyone's packing up, but the jury's been let out for a sidebar, I thought.
I know you want to.
Did they send the jury out and I missed it? And I like that this judge is being very protective of the jury and giving them breaks. This has been an incredibly rough and long day. So I am glad that the judge is so conscious and conscientious of
remind them all Friday morning, 8 o'clock.
I will.
Can I see the attorneys back up, please?
Now, do remember that tomorrow we will not be having court. I forgot about that. Thursday we are off. So depending on, I might talk to Nick tomorrow and see if he wants to start with closing statements in the Banfield case. I don't know why I want to say Banfield. I don't know. But the Banfield case. Or we might just do some weird clip streams. I don't know right now. I might take the day off as well. I appreciate greatly, I mean, beyond words, honest to goodness, all of you hanging out with me today. This is not easy testimony to hang out, and I know I stopped counting the yeses, but I couldn't during the testimony. So we will be back to Mad Libs and mad roasting the defense on Friday. I just needed, it just didn't feel right to continue counting. So I apologize that I kind of went off on that, or I didn't continue that, but it just didn't feel appropriate.
Okay. We have concluded the testimony for today. It was a long day, so we've concluded for today. I've decided to do that. We will start back up on Friday morning, same time, same place. It'll be 8 o'clock on Friday morning. We start at 8:30, and we'll continue on with the testimony at that point in time. Until such time, everyone, Mr. Caneiro, we'll see you back on Friday. We'll make sure that we're all ready to go. All right? Thank you, everyone. Everybody have a good day.
All right. Let's see here. So that was today. I would imagine that this is going to be our breakdown. I can imagine that we are coming to the very end of the state's case. Now, whether that means we start on the defense case, if there is any, on Friday, I don't know. After that testimony, I doubt that the defense is going to try to put on any defense. Their defense is simply going to be they never looked at Corey, or you didn't hear anything about Corey. Today, we went through the defense cross-examined the ballistics expert for about 2 hours, questioning whether the state prosecutors, because of the length of some of the cartridges that Paul allegedly used, the test cartridges that they had at the forensic ballistic lab weren't working to get the same. Look, it's a BS science, but basically the cartridges weren't giving them the right markings. So the prosecutor did supply a box of these cartridges they found in Paul's garage that matched the identifying head stamp to the ballistics unit to do test firings. And lo and behold, as the state said in opening statement, according to ballistics, the casings and the jackets matched the firearms recovered at the scene. Then we got into the first medical examiner. She started with Jennifer. Jennifer had several stab wounds and one gunshot wound to her head. Now, a lot of the injuries were hard to detect because She had been exposed to fire for a long time, so there was a lot of contracting of her muscles, which made certain measurements and kind of depths and certain things very difficult to kind of determine the way they would normally do. It was determined, though, at the end of her autopsy that the combination of the gunshot wound and knife wounds, loss of blood, basically caused her to pass away, and she didn't have any sign that she had breathed in any of the smoke. So she was, they determined through her autopsy, already dead before any of the fire damage on her. The medical examiner then talked about Jesse, the 11-year-old. He had a lot of wounds on him. His basic cause of death was a combination of loss of blood, and he did have a slight 8% concentration of carbon monoxide and soot in his lungs. So the carbon monoxide was not enough to take his life based on the calculations, so it was probably the blood loss. We then and this medical examiner, she did her very best. You could tell that she was really struggling, but she did her very best to be professional and did a great job. We then switched over to the witness that we left off on. He did Keith Canero's autopsy and Sophia's, and again, he was a wonderful witness, very, very knowledgeable, tried to explain things in a, layman's terms, tried to be as clear as he could. Keith had 5 shots. One was in his lower back, which I didn't realize he had one. And the rest were near or on his head. Now, the one from the lower back did go through his torso and I think exit his shoulder and then entered his hand and exited his hand. He was found to have been, obviously, it was labeled as death due to homicide. Sophia was a hard one. Sophia had multiple wounds on her body, and it was shown through her blood concentration with carbon monoxide that she was alive for at least a while the house was burning. Again, there was a discrepancy. Yes, we can do that.
When the world feels like a dumpster dive and humans forget how to thrive, take a break, just you and me, with a puppy and kitten, wild and free. Paws and purrs, let's drift away to a land where tails wag and play. No more noise, just gentle muse in our furry four-legged cruise.
So, and again, the doctor was incredibly professional and maintained his composure until the very end, which is something that I couldn't do. And I thought he did a masterful job of testifying to some really, really tough stuff. And I hope that both of the medical examiner witnesses can go home and decompress and do something that helps them deal with this however they deal with this. That being said, I don't know where the state is going to go after this. I would end with this if I were the state. I think this is such powerful testimony. And I do want to warn the defense. I gave you this warning during the testimony about Sophia, but I want you to sit down and think about this tonight. You need to understand that up until now, your arguments have been ridiculous and moronic and ill-conceived. So offensive on an intelligence and intellect, a logic level. After that testimony, it's no longer just mildly insulting. It is downright going to be seen as utter disrespect. And I've held back. Y'all have not seen the utter cruelty that I can bring with my words. I have held back because I'm trying to be just a little bit more like Steve Gosney every day. But I need you to understand that I will show no mercy verbally. I will make fun of everything. Now, I do want to say that beyond that warning, beyond that sort of thing, because I do think that the jurors will punish Paul for the behavior of his lawyers. And this is a compound thing. Again, up until now, they've just basically wasted the jury's time with their ridiculous questions. Now we've seen what we have seen. That wasting of time, that condescending smirk, do not, again, because if you think it was going to be ugly and possibly terrible for your client before, this is a whole new ballgame. You better realize it. You better understand that the field has changed now. And I don't know that they're smart enough to realize that. I don't know if they understand or comprehend that anyone, any human being who sat through today will not just see their mediocrity, their ineptness, their incompetence as just mildly irritating. It is disrespectful, and they have acted this way the entire trial. They have known about this evidence, and if you don't think that the jurors won't get retroactively pissed off about how you've been kikiing and not being prepared for this trial, when the jury comes back very quickly, you might need to reassess your entire thought pattern. Because again, like I said, you were playing checkers before. Now everyone else was playing chess. I would not go with that pattern anymore. I would advise your client to shut the hell up, sit the hell down, and hope that no one finds out what the hell he did in Gen Pop. That's the best you can do for him. I wish I had anything else to say, but if I did, I think I'd just end up cursing loudly, and I'm going to go hug my kids. If, hug your kids, reach out to a friend. Let someone in your life know that you appreciate and love them, because at the end of the day, if watching trials has taught me anything, is that all those things that we take for granted can be taken away really, really quick. And, maybe we don't always take the time to tell people in our lives the little things that they do for us that we appreciate. And we're not always promised every day. So, if you have friends, if you have family, let them know that you care for them, that you appreciate them, and that you just, maybe you need someone to talk to tonight. If you do, I am going to, go hunt down my feral children, give them a hug, remind them to take showers, use soap, water, and brush their teeth after figuring out what I'm going to do for dinner tonight, because I am this tempted to order pizza. And by this, I mean this. And uh, yeah, so we will see. Because I doubt Mr. Mo will be in the mood to cook dinner since he's been doing schoolwork diligently all day today. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning for Mornings with Mo. And I'll let you guys know how, if we're going to have a silly stream or something like that. We might look at cop videos for a little bit in the morning. But maybe this having a break is a good thing because this was some heavy testimony. So have a wonderful night, you guys. I'm going to let you go wherever in the interwebs you would like to go. Just to have a good evening and, think of some things that you're grateful for. Like I said, this was a rough day, but we look forward to tomorrow where I can bring you headlines, true crime, and the absurd, and more donkey videos because I seem to have a talent for finding them. So bye, you guys. Have a great evening.